Hello? Okay. Alright. Probably I need to tune this a little bit upward. Let me see how to do this. Okay. Okay. Alright. So, hey guys. Long time no see, I would say. Seems that this is it's been, let's see, like 13 days or 14 days after our last streaming. And so, well, I'm finally back. As usual, I think we need to go through some of your own practices first, and then we can move on to something else. All right, let's see what you guys have. So first of all, we have Tommy again, and I believe this is your newest one. Let me double check. Yep, this one is your. These two are your newest update. Portraiture. Yeah, I can see. I think it's good. Yeah, it's a pretty good job capturing the lighting and shadings and the overall facial anatomy. Overall, good job. But still, I think there's some little details, maybe paying a little bit closer attention next time. I don't know if you guys have the habit of checking, flipping constantly, flipping horizontally, like while you're drawing, to double check if any proportions or anatomy is wrong. So what I can see here is, first of all, you can see like the nose here. This is definitely a little bit skewed downward. This line here and compared to this line here, there's definitely a difference there. And also the mouth, although it has a tendency of going downward, but this corner of the mouth should be a little bit upward, so it has these lines as well. These three lines should form a good perspective line that have a vanishing point somewhere, I don't know, here or maybe somewhere different. Just this part is a little bit wrong, but overall I think it's good. I think it's a great job, for the practice purposes. So keep practicing something like this, and surely you will improve a lot throughout this winter. Okay, and the other anatomy structure of the face. Hmm. I'm not super sure if you want to do the line works for the facial structure, like the facial drawings, because I know that the sometimes it will be a little bit easier if you just instead of emphasize on the lines, on the contours, you emphasize a little bit more on the entire facial values to represent the structure of the face. It could be a better approach. I don't know. It depends on you. But if I'm going to do this, let's take an example here, I guess. Well, in fact, I'm not super good at the realistic facial portraitures, but I will try my best. Yeah, this is a new character design I'm working on. which I would like to finish it before the semester start. I wonder if we still have the time. It can be small. Let's use the pen. Let's use the pencil. Yep. And okay. Laying out the rough outlines. Really rough. You can focus on the outline first, but then gradually pay more closer attention now to the facial proportions and the side. One thing good about digital painting is that you can always double check it, like flick back and forth, and also use the deformation to deform any unwanted, like deform any part that is out of the proportion. That is one key advantage of the digital painting or the drawings. And of course, his leaves is not as thick. And this part of the eyebrow is like this. And you think the sound thing is out of the place, you can just move it. And flick back and forth, double check everything's okay. probably need more volume at the back of his head. And then if you want some details, you can always just zoom in and add the details that you want. But the key is to have a raw picture layout first. Really. And then if you want details, always enlarge that. And then add in your details. Or make it like changes. A little bit too close. I need to move it like this. Yep. Maybe we will need a longer nose. Yeah, drawing is a really dynamic process. So maybe you'll realize, oh, maybe something's wrong. Then don't make hesitance to change it. Although it may like just smooth out the thing if you don't like. Let me use soft brush for this. Yeah. And of course, you have more space between the two eyes. And if you like to move it a little bit even further, should I? Maybe I should. Oops. I also double check if you are making the right decision. And maybe rotate it a little bit. You know, we smooth things up. Okay. Hmm. A bit more like this. And I think we need a little bit more space between the mouth. Yeah, I have to say that I'm really not good at portraiture. Sorry for guys. So for you guys just like listening to nothing. Because I'm the type that once absorbed into the painting process, I just get quiet. Just go quiet. I mean, there's an infinite amount of detail that I can add in, and you can really change anything if you don't want, if that you don't like. You can always zoom in, zoom out, and also flip around. Small, a little bit smaller. Okay, now I see that his mouth actually opened. What? Man. It's again, it's typical me, not paying close attention to details. Hmm. Working a little bit on the ear. This is probably the least favorite part of my ear. I really don't like drawing ear. I mean, that structure is such a pain in the ass. Man. Hmm. A little bit too high. That's fine. Not too awkward. I think it could be a little bit better, but the problem lies over here. This piece needs to be a little bit upward. Yeah. Let's use this one. Yep. Hmm. 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 Okay. Probably it's not the best portrait artist out there. Hmm. Maybe the forehead a little bit too big. Yep. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's the hairstyle that makes him look a little bit weird. And also, I'm not great at drawing hairs. Hmm. And the other interesting thing that you can do is to superimpose these two on top of each other. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I see. Where's the difference? This is probably the closest I can get. Shh. 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 Yeah. So you can definitely see that in the picture the chin is a little bit protruding outward and his eyes are a little bit too big. Uh but I mean generally it's okay. It's not too bad. And also maybe a little bit more hair there. Other than that, it's okay. I'm not like a perfect portraiture. I'm not like a portrait artist anyway. But yeah, we just spent about 30 minutes to draw the portrait. Well, that is not planned. No, it's like an hour to draw a portrait. That is not planned, but well, I enjoy drawing, so it's fine by me, I guess. Okay. All right. This is probably how I would go with my portrait. I don't know, to use a little bit more values. Oh my god. Let's spend a little bit too more time on this one. Yeah. Close it. Yep. Another style, of course, you can go with like this one. So just use like a color and the values instead of like using outlines. Sometimes I prefer to practice like just using value instead of outline because this actually gives me a little better understanding of how the like geometry actually looks when the lighting is on. While in other cases, you might not be able to see something is wrong or like awkward, something like that. Yeah. But generally, I think it's a good job. Yeah, it's a good job that you did. And of course, you got more for us. Yeah, another thing, the body proportions. I mean, since it's like a speedy sketch, so you might not notice some of the problems they will have. So, for example, you think about the overall proportion. The body in this sketch is just like too short. You think about like how long this arm is actually about the length of the head. So this is like one head long, but in your drawings, this is definitely shorter than the head. So think about this when you're drawing the next like pictures. Pay close, as I mentioned before, pay a little bit closer attention to the detail of the proportion and the posture. I can notice like how this is like a little bit too short, and also notice the curvature of this leg. Probably this line, like this calf, is a little bit out of place. It's a little bit too far to the left, so probably I would draw it like this instead. Like this line go like this instead of go like that. Well, anyway, this is some good practice you did. I believe it is good. I think it is good, and just keep practicing, and you will notice your improvement pretty soon. And this again, notice the proportions, and also this eyes is I don't know, probably the her right eye is a little bit too high. think about it like drawing the lines here. This is a little bit too high. Yeah, moving a little bit downward would be better. And the also the length of the arm. Notice that she's also wearing a pretty big outfit, so the outfit is like having a extra length that added to this part of the arm, the elbow. So notice that as well, and that is simply too short. If you think about the forearm, this is simply too short. So adding more length here will be better. I don't know if you use a reference for this or not, but overall it looks good. It looks cool. Yep. Yep. I think it's good. It's cool. Yep. And finally, you got this one for us. Or for me. Okay, dynamic postures. Oh, interesting. It is a very interesting choice that I have in here. Using this like fighting scene, like two people interacting with each other. Actually, this is pretty advanced in drawings, especially when you think about like two people actually interacting with each other. And that is also why drawing hentai manga, it's pretty difficult things to do, you know, with two people actually rapping together. This is not an easy thing to draw, I can assure you. Yeah, to draw two people convincingly interacting with each other is some next level drawings, in fact. Okay, anyway, so let's see what you have done. Of course, there are like problems. So, for example, notice like this too, like the drawings and the reference that you have. If you are like drawing exactly according to the reference, this guy in red is definitely need to be much more closer to the guy in blue. I think the problem you have here is to, I mean, first of all, I can see that you have the rough sketch already done, then you lay down the real sketch on top of it. So at the sketching state, I think you may need to pay a little bit closer attention to the for example, the relative positions and distance between the two characters, and also pay closer attention to the angle of the each like anatomy part. So, for example, this forearm here is about like a 45-degree diagonal line, but in the actual picture, this forearm is about like 75-degree instead of like 45-degree. So that is a big difference, and that kind of difference will eventually add to the disproportion between two character interaction. So that could be a problem. Yeah, that could definitely be a problem. I see like how this drawing is having the same problem. I know that in the picture reference that you use, the guy in the front is a little bit bigger than the guy at the back, but not that big. I mean, seriously not that big. I see that if you think about the knee is pointing like somewhere near the chest on the reference here, but now your knee is pointing basically at his pelvis, and that is not really the proportion is not very right here. So think about it when you're drawing, like pay closer attention to how the like relative positions of the like the body parts, especially when two characters are interacting. But generally, I think the practice is really well done. I think it's well done, and you are some of the few people that I know that actually willing to draw something advanced and show some like a real passion for the drawing that you're doing here. So I think that is a very necessary quality for you to improve, is to have this passion and have this like a challenge, every day to push yourself forward. That is how you actually become an artist eventually. Yeah, just think about it, paying a little bit closer attention to the like the relative body positions of the two characters, especially you are interested in enjoying how two characters are interacting with each other. All right. Wow. I have spent a lot of time on Tommy alone. Okay. We still have Chris to comment on. Okay, I have already commented on this one. Let's see what you have more for us. I think I have commented on this one as well. Yep. I think the thing you have for us today is this one. So you did took my advice for drawing simpler characters. So the references you choose are just like a character standing. Actually like it because I think starting from the simple character standings, sitting, and like some walking postures, those are pretty critical in understanding the nuance of human anatomy. Although many people want to draw something really dynamic, but if you don't really understand like how the human body, when it's most relaxed, how that manifests itself, then you probably won't be able to draw like dynamic poses convincingly. Alright, so let's compare your drawings to the reference that you have. I can see problems, of course. I think as also it will be better if I just like grab it and put it here. And let's see, just this one, okay? I think this one is small. I know the picture you have here is small. The reference you have here is pretty small. Let's save this again. This is January the 10th. All right. Okay. I'm trying to understand what kind of problem that you're having. Like, what is the source of the problem that you have? Of course, the first thing is the body proportion. It seems that you are trying to understand the body proportion by using this anatomy lines. I won't say it's bad to use the anatomy lines to understand the like body proportions, but the problem is it's not super about the anatomy lines that you use, but is to try to understand what does those lines represent. I think you still don't clearly understand the meaning of the anatomy lines. So let's see, for instance, like this poster that you have here. That's it's all about observing first, I guess. It's about observation. The thing I like to do when I'm like starting a quick sketch is to use a big brush, like quickly laying out the general body postures. Oh man, this is a little bit too small. I need to enlarge it a little bit. Yeah, it's big. And then get a rough understanding of how she's supposed. Oh man, no, I don't want this. Can you? See how the center line actually lies? And you can already observe that, well, here is something like a center line, right? That is good to notice like where the center line is. Actually, this shoulder is like pointing a little bit downward, and you'll notice that as well. Notice that the length of the arm is about the length of the head. But here's the problem. Nobody stand like this. It's like, if you imagine this people is actually standing, it is definitely off the center of weight. So she's going to fall. Boom. And that is not how people stand normally. Maybe you're just like getting impatient to the drawing, but be patient. Be patient when you're drawing characters. Even though it's a line sketch, still be patient. And as I mentioned before, pay closer attention to the overall proportions and the overall lines that is represented by the anatomy. Okay. This is already a rough sketch. This is already a rough sketch. I noticed what is the main difference. You got this line, like I think it's not wrong. It's right. Or let's say it's right. Although maybe overall she's like leaning a little bit too far to her right, and she's about to fall. And the quick way to adjust that, of course, is to rotate this figure directly to like clockwise, a little bit clockwise. But that won't fix the main problem that you have. The main problem is the overall, like the center of the weight. The center of the weight. If you think about the center of weight, actually passes through the head and the middle of the torso. Then as like the end point of the center of the weight, it's about here. Like if I link the center of the head, the center of the torso, yeah, it's about here. And at this point, you can see the only support of the body you have is her left leg. And her left leg is standing on the right side now, right side of us to the like the center of weight. That means she's going to fall down to her right. Yeah. And if you think about center of the weight here, is this here, it should be something like around like here, right? This is where the foot should rest, so she stands still and like firmly on the ground. And after that, after this phase, you can actually draw like yeah, just notice that after this phase, you can actually draw like a little bit deeper into the body. Oh, that's too good. Yeah, like working with this side. Use a smaller brush. Round layer. And to add in some details. Like now you have the head and just have the head. That's fine. A little longer. Then just use the rough sketch you have as the reference guide to really lay down the actual sketches. Now, it takes about like 10 minutes or so to do that. I mean, if you don't want to draw a hand in full details, that's fine. You can practice like hand drawing, just like by studying hand. Don't need to draw a hand in super details in this kind of sketches. There's no point in doing that. But if you like think they want to practice, well, sure, nobody's going to stop you. You can always double check, flick back and forth to see if there's anything that might not look right. I really like flipping back and forth when I'm drawing because it really makes me understand like how something may look different if I changed my perceptions. It's like a thing that the human perceptions can easily get accustomed to things, so it visually corrects itself. I mean, the visual system actually can correct itself on something that you perceived for a long time to correct it to something that you won't find different, or like that you won't find any mistake in it. Uh, it's something about like cognitive and psychology, and I'm not going to talk too much about it. But just pay attention that when you're drawing that it is a good practice to flip. Sometimes just like a flip right and left, flip horizontally to double check everything. Is a good practice, and it really don't take that many effort. It's just like a H key on side. Everything will be like flipped, and you can double check everything. It's really neat. I like it. And of course, adding a little bit of hair if you want. And you can already see the shoulder is like a little bit narrow. It's not as wide as the original shoulder in the picture, but I mean, sometimes I like a little bit narrower picture shoulder. Just my style. Love the cute anime girl style, man. I'm just I don't know. Okay. This is if you want to practice a little bit more, you can definitely use my type of techniques here to first like lay out the rough general rough like thick outline drawing. Just like notice like how you actually begin your drawings. I can already see that you are like doing this kind of stuff, right? This is not right when you're doing digital drawings or paintings. Don't like trying to get a line straight just by, you know, overriding the line that you draw. Try to get it in a continuous stroke to get it like you can do something like this is okay, I guess. Just don't do this. This is not right. This is not right. Don't do something like this. This is not right. If you want to draw a line straight, draw a line straight. Just a line. Or if you can draw slower, it's fine. It's a little bit zigzagging, especially on tablet. But it doesn't really matter that much if you're practicing sketches. It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah. Or if you want to draw a curve, just draw it like really quick. Instead of like no, don't do that. Yeah, this is good practice. Or like if you go slower, it's fine. It was zigzagging, but in terms of practice, again, doesn't matter that much. We just don't do this. A lot of beginners do that, but eventually you will get rid of that habit. Yeah, eventually we'll get rid of the habit, so don't worry about it too much. Just you still have a long way to go. I mean, everybody when they begins, they can just draw something like a stick figures, but be willing to go beyond that. You requires courage and also your intense interest in drawing, in the subject you will draw. So just like keep on doing what you're doing here. Keep on practicing. Although it may not be that obvious that my drawing still sucks compared to others. But I mean, eventually, just believe in yourself that hard works will eventually pay off. It really will take a lot of time. I mean, I've been drawing for 6 years. And I can not really say myself that is a really good artist. I mean, there are a lot of people, tons of people who are really, really good out there, and I envy any one of those. But just like have faith in yourself. You really want to be that good, and keep on practicing. I would have to say that, like, just keep on practicing. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and effort. But if you can overcome that, you'll eventually realize that, wow, I can do something amazing. And that feels good. That feels good. I can assure you that feels good. It's good. All right, so just keep on doing the works that you've been doing, paying closer attention to your body proportions. Again, proportions. Why do you emphasize so much proportions here? Right? Why we are emphasizing so much proportions here? And since you are drawing digitally, I mean, if you really don't have faith in your in your eye, like just capturing the details on the pictures, just do something like this. Copy and paste. And again, you can always lay one on top of the other to check if anything's right or wrong. I can see that this leg could be a little bit downward, but I don't know. Just feel like the way that you drawing. Just paste the reference you have to the side of the canvas, then sketches. Look at it, sketch. Look at it, sketch. If there's something wrong, trying to find what is wrong. People, especially artists, need then keen eye for the body and any subject they're drawing, and to have that keen eye to learn not only how the proportions in theory, but really practice it when drawing the actual body. That is really important. So it's really important to really see and draw. Yeah. Just paste the original pictures to somewhere on the canvas and constantly double check what you are drawing. Yeah, you can even flip the canvas to see where's wrong. Believe me, flipping the canvas will help. It will really help. It will really help for you to identify what is wrong. It will really help. Okay, so I guess that is the advice that I have for both of you guys. And I will be moving on to my own things. That is to practice 5 figure drawings, and then let's watch a video, and we'll call that a day. So first of all, I will show you guys some of the pictures that I have. I believe I have most of this on Facebook pages. So if you guys want to grab those, just feel free to do that. And if you want something bigger, you can either follow me on the Pixiv site or just download whatever you want. And I just kind of like this one, like this design recently I made, combining the cyberpunk style with the Chinese monk style. I don't know whether it will be a success or not. Kind of like her design already. I'll probably dive further into the design later. But before that, I will have to finish this picture. Kind of like an interesting composition. I don't know. The theme is to emphasize on the so-called the craziness or the sadistic aspect of the main character here. So that is a few concepts that I came up with. Some concept, just rough sketches. And I will proceed accordingly to this sketch, which is one of the most complex among these pictures. I hope to finish it in a week, so I probably won't have too much time every day to do practices, which is sad, but well, a decision has to be made. And this is a practice I did for a male character. I still don't do male characters, but I think doing some male character also helped me understand different styles. And the reference I use is here. Okay, so today, uh, shall I call this as one of the practice I did? I probably shall. I probably should. Then the problem leaves us to find the additional four characters. Already find a lot of references here. And I believe I already find one that I want to use for tonight. This one. I have to find some interesting one. Have we done this before? I think we have used some of the reference here. I'm not going to use repetitive ones that are already done. This one is interesting. Okay. So this is one. And of course we need one on the side. Yep. 62. And that's fine. Like it. This is the third one that we have. Basically the same, except that the arm is raised. I just don't understand why sometimes raising arm looks good. Like placing your arm like that. Maybe emphasize on the curve a little bit more. But I'm not a professional model, so I don't know like the tricks that I use. But I just don't see like how this will contribute to the overall posture. But anyway, we'll grab this. Basically the same, but still. It looks cool. It looks cool. Just why are you placing your arm on top of your head? Why? I want to understand. What's the motive behind that? Seriously, I really want to understand. And by no means of disrespect. Because sometimes if you can actually understand why people are doing something, then you can probably have a better understanding what you are drawing when you are actually drawing the thing, the picture. Okay, these are blocking. First, second, this one, let's put it like this. Yeah. Okay, let's start. I'll grab 5. Fine, that is fine. Let's do 5. So we'll do 6 sketches tonight. Again, start with the big one, the big brush. Have a general idea. Why is it too small? Oh no, I don't want a ruler. Does it really make sense? The body here? Does it even make sense? Probably doesn't. Really don't like how this looks. This looks, I don't know. Feels weird. That line feels weird. Looks like that has been like photoshopped somehow. Bigger. I don't like how this looks. I think I really don't like how this looks. I will make it thinner. I will make it thinner by my own degree. Why it looks so... I will go with my style on this one. Looks a little bit better. But again, I guess the shoulder is a bit too narrow. Yep. And that way you can overset a little bit more. Here. Well, it feels so weird. This pose feels so weird. I start to doubt if this picture has something wrong with it. The thing about like the chain to the shoulder, this distance, is I don't know. Feels wrong. Feels wrong. And yeah, just noticed. It needs to be somewhere here. On second one. Man. I think you can already see that there's a lot of like photoshopping involved. For example, this ankle here, if I compare this part this part, it is about the same thickness, and that is not very right, I would say, proportionally. So that means I think some photoshopping is involved to make the character looks a little bit more slimmer. Well, that is a common trick that you use today to make like the model looks like even prettier. I don't know if I should criticize or not. I mean, as human creatures, we all are leaning towards the depiction of the perfection, like the perfect body. But the problem is that nobody is perfect, right? Nothing is perfect in this world. I mean, in the real world. So we have to come up with these like digital tools to help us create or generate like a world that is perfect, or at least like better than the world that we are in right now. Which is kind of sad. We just like don't appreciate the real things anymore. Just living in some fictional space that we created by ourselves. And of course, we need to adjust this. About like this, yeah. I'll just leave a rough sketch like that. It also goes like that. Mm-hmm. Mm. Hmm. Heading to here. Ooh, yeah. Right. Or a little bit too slim. I can leave it that. You should raise a little bit more. Okay. That's fine. Close. Close. What do you have? Let's do this one. Oh. Oh. Wow, it's 2 hours. Okay. Let's wrap this up. In 30 minutes. Let's wrap this up in 30 minutes. Okay. Again, fake rush. Capture the so-called essence of the drawing. Other pose. She's heavily raising her arm like that. Oh man. I just want to understand why people are posing like that. What's so good about this pose, like raising your arm? Oh man. I think I need to ask a professional model for the answer. Probably. Small. This pose actually is good. Could be a good reference, except for the arm. For the future character design. It's some good poses. This is some good pose actually. Think about it. You need to be shorter. Yep. Here. Yeah, the overall thing looks like that. Okay. Oh, I forgot. They're on the same layer. Okay. Okay. Notice how this is slightly S-curved. It's actually very elegant. That's what I really like about human anatomy. Like it has this really elegant times. When you think about it, you find that how beautifully humans are structured. Hmm. Hmm. Don't like it? No. Yep. Old habit. Making skew a little bit upward. And don't let this shape intimidate you. Everything can be break down into simple geometric understanding and simple geometric solutions. Yep. Then already again some of my personal taste on the design. Okay. Double check. I think this curve can be oversized a little bit more. Like this. And so that means this part goes a little bit outward. And of course, the underlying enemy structures goes a little bit outward as well. But generally, there's not a big change. You see another half of another braces line somewhere here. Yep. Okay. Oh man, can your professional model tell me why you want to pose like this? What's the aesthetic principles that have been used? Like posing like this, raising one of your arm behind your head or on top of your head. I'm confused. Wow. It seems that anyway, I still need to move this a little bit over. And overall, yep. Yep. This is how it should look. Adding the hair. This is what our This is the fourth one that we are doing. I need to do the fifth one. To call it a day. Okay. Close this one. Close this one. Let's just this one. Yep. Oh, interesting. It seems that this pose it's very nuanced. It's nuanced and deliberate, which I don't like that much, but you will run into this kind of pose eventually. I mean, that you don't really understand. Like, for example, how these two angles actually manifest itself in a real anatomy, but I'll try to deal with it. Also, of course, my head is too small. Bigger head, this is too big. Yeah, about the right size. Leave some room for the neck. Oh, we're good. Oh man, sometimes I hate the reference with the long hairs. You barely can see the neck, which is a problem. And just appreciate how this S curve in the leg. It's just beautiful. Okay. Of course, the rough sketch is wrong, but we'll just fix it later. Your head. Okay. This is the part that I don't really understand. Like the two previous drawings that we have, the reference that we have. Really, the width here is super thin, but then in this one, I don't know why it becomes thick. Is it because of the clothing that she's wearing? I guess no. Man, people just want to. Guess I just have to use my own judgment to address these issues. And this one. This curve is not that pronounced. Also because of the backlighting here, I think we're losing some of the volume. In fact, doesn't matter much. Okay. The underwear. Okay. Just trying to capture the curve in here. And notice like just how delicately they're arranged. Oh my god. I love human body so much. We're almost done. This one looks wrong. This part is definitely wrong. Yeah, something like this. Right. And then do perfect like this. Okay. Of course, the head does not tilt this way. That's curve. Should I emphasize a little bit more on that? Don't emphasize a little bit, something like this. And then the head will be a little bit more to our right. Yep. Probably how we want to do it. These as this curve. And of course, should be a little bit more this way. Okay. All right. That is the 5 figures we have for today. Oh my god, we're finally done. And start drawing bigger and bigger and bigger. And make it a little bit more even. Way downward. Make it smaller. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my god. I think I will take a break before we can watch anything. It's already 12:15. But we still got one thing more to go. One more thing to go. Yep. 5 minutes break. 5 minutes break. Oh. Okay. Anyway, I think we can watch something. Yeah, let's watch something. And hopefully that won't be too long. Again, this old guy that we have. I want to rewatch some of the chapters that I said that I'm going to watch. Cause I mean, I will watch this again. This is good. It really good. The upper arm. Yep. The upper arm. That is what we are gonna watch. Okay. For the note taking. And let me see. Okay, let's do this. And I need to make the streaming a little bit more. Okay, there it is. Let me remember what kind of setting we used last time. It is something like this. Yep. And I'll just use this part of the screen. And also you don't need to see this, because that will leave me plenty of space to take note, I guess. All right. So let's start. Wait, I don't think I turned audio on. So, yep, this audio should be on. Now it should be okay.
Alright, now, the arm, the humerus is taking and attaching through, coming out. I'm going to put the arm out this way. Actually, should be a little bit higher than here. Now going out through. And notice I'm making a really strong corner here for the inside of the arm. And this is really a prominent point. It's really getting, it's a medial condyle thinking in terms of this point. Okay. Now, your choroid brachialis muscle is pulling from here. This is actually a pretty large muscle. And it's something that a lot of times we really don't think about very much about. This is taking and coming through here. If we take, if you raise your arm up, in other words, if we take a look at this, with the arm going way up like this,
Yeah.
and then the scapula being here, and this
Looks like
we can
one
actually
annoying piece
see
of muscle.
clavicle, in other words, down. This becomes a strong shape that pulls through into the armpit here. Now, on the exact opposite side of this now, if you can think of these two muscles as being sort of somehow as mates, that we come down from here on the other side. Now, we need to look a little bit more at
This is where your
the actual
bicep
bone
lies.
here. You look at the way this bone comes down. There's actually a pretty strong curve to the shape of this bone as it comes down. Here, this curve through here, coming down, comes through, and the way the radius and the ulna can attach here. So let me take and draw this a little bit because we need to think this curve as it comes around. So if you're looking at this, you can feel this curve, and I'm pushing this idea of the curve of this bone coming through. And the shape, this is like, goes like this, but then the ridge comes up on this, and the bone, the way it takes and turns. So we get this sort of thing building up, and then we feel this corner here, the ulna, and this fitting in here. And your radius is working in here and going through this way. So what we have is the brachial muscle, which is taking and attaching on the other side, and it's coming down and attaching right into the ulna in here. Now this is underneath the biceps, and this again is one of those muscles that we tend to sort of overlook. We don't really think about that very. We always focus on the biceps and the triceps, but this brachial muscle is underneath that. And it gives a lot of the bulk in here. So this, as it comes down, fitting into the ulna right here, radius is here. It's coming down and attaching at this point. So this is a very large muscle now, coming down through and pulled down and pulled in. It's attaching right here then. And it actually fills in a lot of this space at this point right here. So we see this is the brachial muscle. This is the chorobrachialis, which is just on the other side of that bone. Now, where this attaches, right here, is actually where the deltoid comes down to. So, if we look at this from a simple, let's take and do this sort of a straight down shot here. We have the end of the scapula here. Clavicle would be the bump behind that, coming out here and there. Scapula is going on back down this way. The joint then is right here. We're going down the arm here. Now, your deltoid takes and attaches, say right here, it's pulling from all the way around, and we talked about this already with the shoulder blade. Pulling from here, all the way around here, coming down along the back, and so it takes and pulls down and attaches right here, around behind the corner. And right where it attaches is where the brachial muscle starts. So if the brachial muscle taking going down this way then, so this is the beginning point, so that deltoid now is pulling and around and attaching right at that spot. And pulling all the way around the corner, coming through, taking, pulling down, coming through to that point. Now, the bicep muscle, when we start thinking of how the bicep works in here, is that you have to think of the shape, the actual shape of the muscle, because it really affects how we see it. So, biceps is actually coming across. Now, I'm going to take and draw the shape here. We'll do this whole thing again now. The shape of the biceps muscle is something like this. It's got two heads. Like this. Out, down. Down. Then it has a section that takes and pulls over the other muscles. Okay, pulls and goes through. Now, when we see this, so this is really fairly narrow. Goes through, and of course, the guys work out and what have you, it can get really bulky. But this head here goes through that joint here, the end of the muscle, end of the bone there. I was talking about has this, has a groove in it.
Yeah, a groove.
If we look at the bone here, you can see right here, there's this groove that takes and goes through here. So one head of the tendon of the muscle that takes and goes through, and then attaches back in here. The other head comes over and attaches over to here. So we've got these two things that are coming across. Then the muscle comes all the way across and attaches over here to the radius. So what the interesting thing about the biceps then
that's the funny
is that
part.
it's nowhere attached to your upper arm. It's
That's
only
the
attached
funny
back
part.
Here and here. But there's no attachment at all on here. So it's really a muscle that's on top of the other muscles that are immediately in the upper arm. Which makes it really sort of interesting, is that this shape right here then, this shape is really a sort of a misleading thing. I'm going to take and draw over this, and then I'm going to take and draw it again. Is that when you... So it's coming over, attaching over here. It's going through, over through that notch in here, and coming through. And we have these long tendons. Now, you have to ignore that biceps for right now. It's coming through the tendon, coming across this way. Biceps, then the muscle is taking and coming up, and it actually goes at a diagonal because it's going over to the radiuses. Of course, that depends on how the arm is turned. We've got this pulling across this way now. From here to here, coming down and attaching here. This is actually a diagonal. You see it here. Now, this part of the shape here really takes, and we talked about the muscles off the chest, the pectoralis muscles that take and pull off of the chest. They go over these tendons this way. So that and I'm going to draw as if this was like dissection, because I'm thinking of the cross section of that muscle is very, very thick in here. And this would be taking and going over the surface in here. Now, the deltoid comes around, and it's coming over here, and this pulls and goes over behind this also. So now we're getting this, the pectoralis muscle pulling in at this point right here. You can feel this coming across, in other words, your pecs. Okay? Then the deltoid is coming around and going over this surface here. But all of this is going over this sausage with two heads to it. It's going through this point here. So we tend to think somehow that this is the muscle really big and these are going over a large part here, but it's just going over the tendon part of it. This is sort of all fitting in at that point as we're drawing it there. So they're going over and through, and what we get underneath in here, and filling in this space, then you can see this is we get the bronchial muscle coming through in here. Now, we look at this from a little different angle. I'm thinking it's sort of a coming down up this way, and the arm coming, lower arm coming out this way. So we're seeing this direction now. Now, when we're drawing the arm this way, the first thing you're always focusing on where the scapula comes through, and where the clavicle would be up here. The cardiac process along the corner, is going down, turning the corner. Now, the bone, visualizing the bone is in here, coming down. Now, you really try to make a point of trying to see the conda of the corners. Here, and the other, and then almost. So but these 3 points become really critical in the fact that you've got this curve here. So we're actually focusing a bit on the idea that you have this curve, and we actually end up having a sort of a line, a seam in a sense coming down here. So when I'm doing that, down, I visualize this. I think of the corner. I'm seeing this shape here. I'm think of the ulna fitting in here. The radius is coming from here, and so I'm actually turning the arm a little bit. When I turn the arm, and again, when we deal with the lower arm, we'll talk about this, that the elbow doesn't change. It's the radius that moves over the elbow. So the elbow doesn't rotate. The ulna does not rotate. It's a radius. That's why I call it radius, because it rotates around. So we're treating this, or at this point now, seeing this as a oval or squarish type end here. Now, I do the condyle on the other side. Even if I can't see it, I tend to draw it through as if I could see it. Now, what we've got now is we've got the brachial muscle, which is pulling from roughly about here now. This is going behind. So this is actually going through, and we've got the radius turned here, coming across this way. This is actually going down and attaching to the ulna, which is now behind here. So we see this muscle is coming down. Your bicep is going through here, coming from over here. This is coming across here now. This is pulling down and going like this, and it's coming over the top of the brachial muscle. And it's coming down, and it's actually now attaching in here, this way. So now you've got these two lines going through here. Your deltoid is coming around from here. And, well, first we can take and think of the pectoralis muscle, which would be going over this point, attaching in here, this way. And this becomes that cylinder that's coming off of the chest. Deltoid is coming over this and attaching in here. So we've got that coming through, coming across, deltoid going around from behind. And we've got these points, and there's a definite corner here. So we're coming through And we're seeing this is going underneath here, coming down the corner, going behind through here. Now, what happens right here, of course, and again, when we get into with the lower arm, you have the muscles that are pulling often are just sort of referring to as the ridge muscles. The tuberculoradialis muscle comes across and actually attaches to the end of the radius here. And you've got another one that comes here, and then we start pulling from these common tendon in here. The idea, these are pulling sort of, and like I say, I was suggesting that you think of this like a seam going down here. These are coming off of that point right here. We're going over that surface, coming down, and we're pulling down. The muscles themselves aren't very long. It's the tendons that keep going through here. Now, on the other side of this seam is now your tricep. So you're thinking now, and your triceps are all basically working to the end of the ulna here. So the bulk, then we start to see all of this bulk in here is the triceps. Now let's look at this from the back. Now, we're sticking with the same arm here. Your triceps, basically 3 heads. 2 that are grabbing.
That's why it's
over
tricep.
here. The third
It has
head
3
is going
ends.
over to the scapula. Again, we've discussed this a bit already. So we've got the triceps coming down, but they're coming over and attaching to here. We're going to cross down to this point here. And in fact, the triceps is, we tend to, again, I think that maybe I just tend to think of biceps as being the big muscle, but the triceps is actually, the 3 of them tend to be actually maybe even larger and fuller. So if you look at this from the back then, scapula, ribcage would be through here. Your sphenoid cavity, pulling out. Again, I'm saying make an issue out of seeing these condyles. These are the points that you work for. So I come through, I focus on those points. Then the ulna coming through to here, the radius would be up going through here. So pulling from right here then is your long head of the triceps. We've got 2 other heads that are taking and basically focusing on here and down through here. This bit. The long head comes across, pulling through. And all of these muscles now are pulling to a common tendon now. And it's taking and coming down from here. And so we get this horseshoe shape from how the muscles build one on top of the other. And you get the feeling of this pull here. Now, one of the elements of this, think of the shape of we're dealing with that tendon coming down to the elbow, is that focusing on this area right here. If I take and here's the end of the ulna. Bone, and when you look at this, you can see it's really, it has a pretty square corner to it. You can really feel across the corner coming around. It's pretty square. It's like a claw that fits over and rides on top of the surface. So the feeling in looking at that claw section here. So the tendon is taking and attaching to it for all 3 of these muscles now. Except that it's not just the cord going up here. You actually have muscle that comes down along the side of this thing also, this way. So we actually get a line of muscle that pulls down through here like this. Then we're pulling into the tendon through here. So this part here. So now this is where we're dealing with right here. Let me sort of draw this with a different color. So we've got tendon coming through. We have the horseshoe shape. So the muscle was taking and coming down like this. And it's coming along side to here. The muscle part is pulling, coming all the way down along the edge here. But this really starts to bulge at this point through. This is going back, deltoids coming around. So we've got the brachial, we've got the triceps, the brachial muscle, and then the biceps. And we've got what I refer to as these ridge muscles coming in between your brachial muscle and your triceps. Well, this is the combination. The actual, if you look at this as a cross section, the cross section of this is more like well, sort of pizza. But somebody took the bite off the end. Okay. So what's fairly narrow at the bicep section here. But then as we come out here, this gets very wide in the back. So the back of your arm is real wide, and it gets very narrow as we come through in here. Now, we take and look at the arm coming straight out again in the front. Okay. So now what we're dealing with is starting here, thinking this is the deltoids attaching to the through, pulling across, attaching across the scapula, and coming around. As I'm doing this point here, I'm taking going down here, and start to visualize the deltoid now coming around the corner. Now, in doing this, I really take into consideration the scaroid process, because the muscles have to go around this corner, and the ball of the socket here, all of this stuff creates a rather large. If I just even do this, you can see that you've got a corner. The muscle's actually going up here, attaching up in here. You deltoid. So there's a fairly good volume in here that we're working on. So try to feel this corner coming around and through. Now, deltoid, lifted it up, so raising the arm, lifting it up from this point, and coming across. This is pulling around over the biceps now, coming through. The pectoralis muscle is pulling into this. Pulling in, and generally these two things sort of blend in. But I want to make a point of seeing that this is a corner here. A definite corner coming through, so this coming in. Now, looking to conduct, I'm taking and drawing arms straight out, I think. Okay. Visualize where you feel this corner here. Think of where it's coming around, going through. Okay. These triceps now, talking about you have three heads. The one head is now, this is where we feel this sagging underneath, coming through this way. That's your triceps. Well, hopefully it's your triceps. It's probably a lot of other stuff besides. Okay. But theoretically, it's your triceps. Okay. But now, the brachial, caro brachialis is pulling from the caroid process over there. That'll come through in here. And so we actually get this, there's a groove that's created in here between your brachial muscle, your biceps, and your triceps underneath in here. And in this groove, if we were looking at this as a cross section, you could actually feel it's like this. Within that groove, you have all kinds of arteries and veins and nerves that are running through that point from the inside of the arm in here. So there's a combination of a lot of different things. One of the things that I want to keep in mind is brachial, corabrachialis muscle, and the biceps are coming from the same place. The biceps is running high up this way, and the corabrachialis is running low through here. But they're coming from the same spot here. So now we're seeing this. I'm drawing rather with a skinny arm here. The biceps then is going off and goes at a diagonal. Up this way, coming across, through, and then it takes and goes down through here. Now, triceps behind. Okay, remember we were dealing with the scapula here, that we had the teres major going underneath. We had the teres major coming from over here, going underneath the arm, this way. We also had the latissimus dorsi coming around and going up underneath and here and coming through. So all of those now would be coming up and fitting in here, this way. So we've got the triceps behind. There's also at this point the brachial muscle then taking and coming in and filling up part of this space in here, and possibly over here, but more mainly we would see that right here. And then you have what's called an intermuscular septum that pulls from that condyle, tends to go back through in here. So that's just like a dividing line between muscles. Okay, so now these ridge muscles then are taking and coming over and going through in here. In the view that I'm drawing here, you may not see any of the triceps or the long head of the triceps that we're taking and dealing with here. So now we can go back and look at this. We've got these coming through. We've got the deltoids coming actually from all the way back here. Around, but normally we don't see this section very clearly, but we will tend to think of it as coming from over here, going over the tricep, and attaching in between the triceps and the biceps, right exactly where the brachial muscle takes and begins. So these are all these things that take and come through, across, through, over, down, and going in this way. We've got all of this stuff pulling through, and we've got to feel this going out, coming in here, and we've got to fill through. Now that's sort of an extreme view of the thing. We can also look at, we start thinking of this. We've got, this is down this way, corner, pull through this. This is a cylinder coming in. Got this width. Got this actually has a fair amount of thickness, volume to it. As we start to pull down to these condyles, what I'm doing here now, for instance, we see we've got this shape here. We would be thinking of this as something that's going underneath this way. And we've got another shape that's coming through here. This is really, you're getting a wedging shape that this is coming in between something that's going this way, and then this is fitting in again. So that comes down to seeing something like, we look at this as a simple characterization of this, simplifying the shape. Deltoid, biceps and triceps combined now. So they're looking at this thing, this is sort of a vertical type shape here, exaggerating that a bit, coming across, seeing that this is more of a horizontal type of shape that we're fitting into. And then these muscles here taking and fitting into this, coming across the corner, so we start to see this type of an arrangement then. So we're pulling down, put something in between, and then this is where your brachial muscle would be coming in between, going down, feel this coming through, coming out. So, now, most of the time you're not dealing with people who are really heavily built, muscular. So, but if you could, even if you take it very, very simple, just taking here a your average arm. Okay. Now, where we work with this, and this is if you understand what the muscles are doing, then it becomes just a matter of taking a subtle, taking it, pull this in, got your biceps pulling in. We've got our ridge muscles pulling in. You hit the dimple where the condyle's at. Feel the corner. You feel the deltoid coming through here. Get a slight dipping in here, and you're probably not going to see much of anything here. We could take a little bit of the triceps possibly coming through here. So once you recognize what it is that you're dealing with, you can see these things. They're really quite clear. And same thing if we take this back view, come through and think of it just. I'm going out of my way now to take and keep this very, very simple contour. That's about what we see. So then start to think, well, okay, now deltoids coming through, not the back here, I should say, and don't the same thing here. Taking, and you feel the pecs will come in. And a lot of times this gets very ambiguous about what's in front. Now, the biceps would just be a line coming through. Feel the condyle here, and we get a little bit of pull through here, and maybe this is going to come across like this. Pretty simple. Pretty simple to take and deal. But if you're taking and recognizing, if you know what goes where, it's not that. You see the subtle tones that we go. The model we have today, she's not muscular, slender arm. And you also have to remember that there's always a layer, or rather thick layer of skin and fat that goes over them. So where we really begin all the time is just like what I started here. You see first, simple cylinder, possibly box, looking for the condyle. We deal with simple volumes over the surface. And you slowly take and add more and more muscles as you need to as you go through the thing. But we tend to get way too complicated with it. And you can see we're dealing with really a very limited number of muscles here. It's not really that complicated.
Okay, now, first thing, of course, always.
Ooh. Okay. Wow. Another lesson on the structure of the arm. Yeah, definitely we need more practices to keep this like anatomy structures in mind. So I guess that will be part of the practice, the random practice I mentioned in my Facebook post that we'll be doing throughout next week, and see how far I can get. And also that is in addition to the like the random drawing. No, the like the character sketches, and uh, because I mean these anatomy structures they already sound pretty confusing or you hear the terms. So if you don't even practice them, like drawing them, you will definitely not able to comprehend like how to draw them, especially in 3D space. I mean, that professor, he's pretty awesome at like drawing this like anatomies because he's been like doing those things for his life. We as beginners, what we can do is just like keep on practicing, especially finding some good muscular guy or women reference, uh, and that will help you better understand. Especially, I think the understanding is on the back and on the armpit. This two area, I think, is probably the most challenging part if you want to draw the character convincingly, because I mean, all of us been drawing a lot of character from the side or from the front, but not much like from the back, and not many of the characters are lifting their arm and showing their armpit. So the back and armpit, yep, that is where you should emphasize. Just like look at this like anatomy structures, the guy that the professor just like laid out, like the deltoid, how that like going up, like carrying upward, like the upper side of the arm, and then the deltoid, the tri the deltoid, the tricep, the bicep is here, the blue one. The tricep is the red one. Notice like how there's like one, there's like little muscles like goes alongside with the bicep, and how the like the muscles on the back are also like coming out from this angle, and that is how you actually draw something convincingly, especially when you have a male character that is like hyper muscular. You just want to get this thing right. Yeah, that little thing, I can't remember the name of it, but it is there. It is annoying, but it is there. I need practice to remember that okay, it is actually there, and some practice to remember like, oh, okay, so why it is there and when does it appear on your drawing. All right, so keep on practicing, and keep on doing good works, and yeah, drawing is all about practicing, drawing a lot, there's no other way to improve yourself. So okay, I guess I will see you next Sunday. Yep, next Sunday.